Hey guys, this is Hunter Levine, and thank you for checking out the Captain's Collective podcast, brought to you by Skinny Water Culture, Turtlebox Audio, Costa Sunglasses, Florida Fishing Products, Orvis Fly Fishing, and the Drifter Fish Club. Today, we're back in the Bahamas. What is it about the Bahamas that draws so many people on their annual pilgrimage to chase after bonefish? It could be the food, it could be the place, it could be the amazing culture, but really when you began to go to some of these amazing places like the Bahamas, you begin to realize it's really the people who call those waters home. And in this episode, I'm excited to sit back down with my friend Travis Sands of Soulfly Lodge and discuss what he's been up to lately, the areas in his life that he's changing and growing, and his hope for the future, not just for the future of his fishery, but also for himself and his family. We hope that this podcast helps you as you continue to explore the world, chase fish, and hopefully become a better person along the way. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is the Captain's Collective.
All right. Well, hey, Travis, thanks so much for hanging out today. It's good to be with you on the boat and excited to have a round 2 podcast with you. In the first podcast, we got a chance to talk about how you got into guiding, your amazing story with Hurricane Dorian, and just a little bit about, at the time, you hadn't been over here at Soulfly that long during COVID, and now you've a little more settled in. You got a son now since I've last seen you. Yeah. So tell me about what's all going on in your life. You got a lot of new things. Just won an award.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, it's like my son, cause he's the joy of my life. I have 2 daughters, but he's the one I'm gonna have to try to pass on my legacy to, and his name is Ocean Blue Sands, which is like submerging outdoors in nature, and I name him after the ocean because it's like my first love, and I spend I'll say 98% of my time out on the ocean and figuring it out and playing out there. So it's only natural that I teach my son everything I know, to try to pass on the legacy to him. But it's other than my son, it's being in Abaco, I didn't really fully understand permit fishing to the extent I do now. And my goal was always to basically connect the entire puzzle with the ocean and the stingray and the permit and how they move and how they cooperate. And after dealing with Hurricane Dorian and COVID, I had a break, from really fishing, but moving over here to Soulfly and the Berry Islands being a new fishery for me, it's been amazing just figuring this fishery out and hitting the ground running and applying what I've learned in Abaco over the years and now here. And it's dude, I feel like I've covered so much ground so quick over here in the Berry Islands with the permit fishing, man, and it's just been a blast and I'm having a ball with it, but not only that, I get to also experience different islands in the off seasons because I do motherships and I go and experience other islands in the Bahamas, which is my goal, because dude, the way I think, just one island won't work for me. It's just I want the whole pie.
You're greedy.
I'm very greedy when it comes to permit, man. You gotta be greedy, you can't be modest with them. They're mean. You gotta be meaner. So I want the entire Bahamas for the biggest, the most, everything. And
yeah,
that's my goal, to map out the entire Bahamas and connect every fishery and figure it out. But other than the permit fishing, the award I just won, it was first runner up. I didn't really want it, but it was pretty sweet to be a part of it because it was the first time they ever hosted this event. I think it's going to be ongoing after this, but was pretty stoked to meet a lot of the other fishy guys in the Bahamas that I've never really got to meet.
Yeah. So tell us what the award was. It was the first time you guys had this kind of inaugural gathering around it. Were there other awards too?
Yes, there were other awards. There was not just the Legends of the Flats, because it was called the Legends of the Flats Awards. It was basically honoring all the guides in the Bahamas that have been putting in work over the years and been making waves and a name for themselves for, doing big things and going about it, whether it be conservation or just basically, going about the fishery the correct way and supporting helping basically all of the science and all of that. And it was they kind of recognize all of the guys who've been putting in their work. And it was pretty awesome. And it was the first time they've ever done it, but it's going to be ongoing from here on out. And I was first runner up, and it was pretty amazing just to meet a lot of the other fishy guys throughout the Bahamas, and everybody was in one spot, and I really enjoyed that, being a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, congrats on that. I think that's a really cool thing to get to be acknowledged in that type of setting for all the hard work that you do. And, I got a chance to hang out with you when you came stateside maybe a year or two ago. But, with everything changing, you got a kid, you're more settled into the Berry Islands, you're more dialed into what you're doing. What do you feel like are some of the big, since we last sat down, some of the big lessons you've learned, or maybe things that you've changed about how you approach life, fishing? What's going on there?
Oh, dude, I feel like the most work I've ever done in my entire lifetime is on me and being a better human being, not just being a fishy guide, just being a better human, like how I approach people, like how I interact with people, and not just letting like being a great fishing guy get to my head and let ego, get in the way of being a great human being. And I strive every day, I'm still working on myself. I'm still in work in progress, just trying to be a better human being, and that's my biggest goal, not just to be a fishy guy or just to be trousers guy, but I just want to be a great human being.
It's a long road. I'm there too. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody gets there. So I used to work on being a better human being, and then once I got there, But tell me, what was the catalyst with that? Was there anything was that just coming with age? Is that coming with having a son? What do you feel like led to making you think beyond just the fish and think more towards what type of person you are?
So I feel like what lead me to want to be a better human being was experiencing that death in Hurricane Dorian, just being so close to it more than once in 2 days, and just basically accepting death and just like being there, and nobody can say they will understand unless you're actually there and experience it. And it's like life just is not going the way you feel it can, and then you realize it's like how you've been living your life, and if you did go, it wouldn't have been pleasant within yourself, and us knowing that how you were living with human beings or even like family or people around you. So it was like a wake up call for me. It was like, it takes nothing to be kind or nice to people, and and it's like I feel like I just try to live my life by those principles after that incident, and just be the best fishing guy that ever existed in the Bahamas, not just to say that's that. So I have like more than one thing going on right now, so it's just like staying focused. It's like I try to like have very little distraction in life. I don't follow sports. I hardly watch TV. I don't like family and fishing, man. It's like I keep it simple as possible, and that's what I try to do, to not get distracted by who's winning in the NBA or NFL, or who's doing this TV show, or who's new hot in the music industry. Like I don't follow none of that. I keep it simple as possible, and I feel like it helps me with being a better human being and not getting distracted by what's going on out there in the.
So if you were to break down, let's say Ocean is 15 years old, you're on the boat with them, and you start thinking about this past 5 years and what it looks like to work on yourself as a human being, what it looks like to be kind to people. What do you tell your son because in our world today, I think a lot of times when people are passionate about something, they want to have this bravado and this exterior. I'm tough. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anyone else. I'm just, and then also there's some level of, I think people want to put up a tough exterior as a guard to protect themselves from, being known or being hurt, kind of like trying to look scary or act scary like a lot of animals do so that everybody stays away. What do you tell Ocean at 15 about what it looks like to be somebody who cares about growing as a man?
Dude, it's almost like it's going to be hard to tell him anything, because I'm trying to basically set the principle now by my behavior and how I interact with people every day. So if you think about your kids are sometimes almost a reflection of you, how you interact with people, how you talk, how you walk, how you present yourself. So if I'm like presenting myself in a certain manner and carrying myself in a certain way, I feel like my kids should mirror me, but it's like so it's just like I'm almost shattering him from like the negative stuff just by how I carry myself. But I can't shadow him from everything, but I could prepare him for how to like behave in certain situation or interact, or how do you like maneuver life. I could teach him that, and it's up to him like how he takes it from there. But it's like I only could like try to mirror what I want him to be, and that's my biggest goal in life, because I'm not proud of my upbringing, like with my father, how we we like basically groups. So it's like I've learned from that, and I've learned from other people's like mistakes, like how they like interact with their kids, and I just want to be a different example and set a whole different like path. You know, moving forward with just being a better human being and fishy, and it's not just not caring about anybody else or not caring about anything else. It's just more or less like having a focus or having something to drive you or having something to focus on. Rather, you're not selfish because you're not just in football or following all these other sports. It's just the fact that you have something that you're like passionate about and you basically want to be the best at it. And it's just like all your focus is mastering the skill or mastering trying to be a better human being.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast maybe a year or two ago, and they were talking about the gift that it is to give your kids when you're not, you know, neglecting them, but you are showing them what it looks like to work hard and to pursue something and take risk and make choices. Because I think a lot of times people have a hard time finding that balance between being passionate about something and then in their mind they might correlate that with, you know, not being present or not being active. And so I think that there's also a gift in, hey, whether it's fishing, whether it's art, whether it's business, whatever it is, this is what it looks like to dedicate yourself to something without neglecting your family. And I think that's obviously a balancing act that, you know, I don't know if anybody feels that confident in, but there is a gift to a kid growing up watching a dad who has a passion for something that's positive, is being kind to people. And so I'm excited to see. He's probably already a better caster than me yet, but I'm excited to, you know, over the years to get to see that. And yeah, I mean, nobody does it perfect. My dad tells me all the time, like, you know, God fills in the gaps with all the areas that we mess up, you know, and no matter how hard you try, you're always going to have those things, but you keep trying to wake up each day and just go again. It's like permit fishing, you know.
Definitely.
You mess the shot up, okay, all right, we got to move on.
You move on, you know. You can't get frustrated about it because it's gonna, like, frustration and fly fishing doesn't work. So it's like you say, move on, and basically, you know, like you know what you did last time, so it was like, let's just focus on this other shot, you know. But it's like, I had a good friend of mine. He has a saying. It's like permit fishing is always waiting, never ready. And it's like so true, because you just see like la la la, and then like permit, and like it's like you're just like, oh, instead of just being calm, smooth, and collective, you know, and like picking your shot. But it's like adrenaline is rushing. It's hard to control adrenaline, you know. So it's like,
well, that's like you just. I hear your voice now in my head, just saying Musa, Wusa.
Exactly.
What's Wusa mean?
Calm down, like relax.
Is that
like,
a Bahamian thing, or
no,
is that...
it isn't. It's like Wusa is like, it's actually like for like meditation, and like
okay,
you rub your earlobes whilst you're saying it with your eyes closed. It's like in a circular motion, and you're saying that it helps you to relax.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Kyle was the one. Well, last time I was here, I was talking to Kyle, and he got me to read a book called You Are Here, and it had like a bunch of Buddhist and meditation and mindfulness stuff, and it was really good and helpful. So I have to start applying that a little bit more.
Yes,
but I hear it today.
Yes,
I hear it today.
Meditate, baby. Like, become like one with yourself and controlling your emotions. You know, it's like, and it's like you are in control of yourself. If you think about it, nobody else is. So once you learn to control yourself when your adrenaline is rushing and, like, you know, like, just like control the moment, it's like it all comes together.
Yeah. So with the permit piece, there's a lot more. We're sitting kind of in a little seating area here, but in the game room there's a wall that has a bunch of permit kind of plaques on it, and there's a lot more than I was here last time. Like last time there was maybe 6 or 7. There's a lot more on that wall now. Yeah. And I know you've been working really hard to chase and pursue it. When you look back at the past 4 years of permit fishing, what do you feel like have been the big aha moments or the big kind of catalytic moments where, okay, we just hit a new level or we just broke through a ceiling? You don't have to give away any dark magic, but what have been some of the helpful things for you as growing in that?
I know what you mean. It's like, basically, like you said, the ocean is like a puzzle, and you got to connect the dots. And to, like, over here, it's like fishing coming from South Andros and fishing in Abaco. They're the 2 biggest islands in the entire Bahamas, not except in Niagara. They're really the biggest, you know. And it's like they have so much grounds to try to figure out and like fish and understand. It's just like it's nearly impossible to figure it all out because you got so much area. But coming to the Berry Islands, which is a smaller island, dude, it was like a sandbox for me. Just it was easy for me to connect the dots here, and not only just connecting the dots here, you had to connect the dots within the dots, because even though you're in the sandbox and it's a small area that I'm used to fishing, I had to figure out the area, and then had to figure out spots within the area and spots within the area. So it was like insane, and I basically I connect the dots here way quicker than I could have on any other island. It's like it's a small, but it's like, what's crazy about it, even though the island is smaller, the information that I've gathered, I could apply on a bigger island and even like figure it out quicker. And that's what I love about it, dude. It's like countless information, like months, tide, moon, barometric pressure. It's like everything, every minute change of the tide matters. And like here, I could do all of that. So I covered so much ground in so little time. Right now, for me, I could hit an island I've never fished before and hit the ground running and be in permit the same day I fish an island I've never even touched before. And I do that because that's why I'm doing the mothership thing. So when I roll into a new spot, I'm already like Google map it, but it's up to me to figure out where they're going to be moving, when they're going to move in, and I already know what the tide doing, what the moon is, what the cycle is, and like how they move in certain months because they repeat that cycle every year. So it's like no more guessing, man. It's just coming in there and be like, all right, how big are these things? And it's like, let's figure this out. And it's like, that's just it.
Well, so if somebody was learning a new fishery and it wasn't even permit, just in general learning a new fishery, or they wanted to get better at connecting the dots within the dots, what general advice would you give them on kind of how to approach that?
Tide. Pay attention to tide. And it's like, so when you come to think of a flat isn't like just one flat surface under the water. It's just like on land. There's valleys, there's hill. Certain areas fill quicker, certain areas fill like later, and certain areas fill like later. So it's like you got to learn what's filling when, and what's filling last, and what's fill like middle section. And once you figure that out, you could always stay in feeding fish because you're staying ahead of the tide. And that all changes with wind direction and everything. So it's like you could always figure it out. So you want to think about underwater as like on land. There's not just one flat surface. Certain areas going to fill first, last, and all of that. And once you figure it out, just like you say, you could always know that this tide's going to fill over here like 45 minutes later. This is going to start filling in right after I hit this, so the fishing's going to be good over there, and that's going to start filling in after I hit this flat. So you're thinking about 4 or 5 tree flats ahead of the flat you're on. And that's the way I'm thinking. I'm not just thinking like, oh, where do I go from here? I'm already 5, 6 flat ahead of the flat I'm on. But I already know I'm going to hit this, that in a rotation because I'm already ahead of the tide. I know how to underwater, like how the landscape shape underwater. So it's like no more guessing. So you're always ahead of the tide and staying and feeding fish.
One of the things I noticed with you today, and I've noticed this with other guides, but it's not uncommon for you to pull up to a spot, and by the time I get my line out, cast it, stack it, and reorganize it, you're like, all right, let's go. Like, reel it in. And then almost like every time you said reel it in, something would happen. Like, there'd be something going on. But you're not afraid to move from spot to spot really fast. What to you, like, when you pull up to a flat, what are some big red flag, no, we got to get out of here? Like, what's going to turn you off a flat really fast?
You noticed that. So, dude, it's crazy. I roll in there, and I could look at the tide and see where it's at. I don't know if I've already missed the best part of that flat, and it's like wasting time. But I know that if I hit this other flat, I get ahead of that, that's going to hit that tide just right on that. So why would I stay on a flat that I'm already behind on the tide? And most of those fish are already stopped moving on that flat. Doesn't even make sense. I'm pulling a dead flat. So it's like I already know, like I missed this tide. I'm hitting that other flat, which is just getting turned on right now. So I'm going there. Which the fishing is just getting turned on rather than staying on a flat that already missed the best tide on it. And once you figure that out, you're not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my client time. Nobody's time is being wasted because you're staying in constant fishing and shots and what's not.
Yeah. Are there anything outside of just looking at the tide? Like, I know a lot of guys are looking for other sources of life, whether it's, if you pull up and you don't see anything, any bait, is there anything like that? Or is it pretty much you're predominantly focused on tide? Then obviously you're trying to work around maybe light, maybe some wind factors, because you got to fish where you can actually have success. We pulled up to one spot today because we had some patchy weather today. It was a little iffy. Yes. And you're just like, yeah, it ain't going to happen. We can't see a fish.
Yeah.
So obviously that would be a factor.
Yes.
Tide's a factor. Anything else that's kind of like, okay, it's time to move? Because I think people sometimes, they're so excited to fish that it's like, I don't want to like do another boat run, you know, I want to fish.
Yeah.
But like, are there any other things that maybe people should consider when they're pulling up the flats?
Oh yeah, like that's why I move a couple times today too. And I was fishing flats that I really didn't want to be on with certain tides, but like just flats that I wanted to be on, the light was horrible, and it wouldn't make sense to me pulling a flat in a horrible light, which ain't no fish are going to be there. I'm just going to be spooking them out, and we're not going to be getting shots on them. So it's like I won't even like basically give that flat pressure on that horrible light. I rather just go where there's better light, even though I know the tide's not best on that flat, but you're still gonna have like one or two stragglers here and there, you know. So it's like it's all like basically juggling your flat and learning when to hit them or when it's not smart to hit them, where you're not overfishing your area, you know. And it's less like using which light's better, because like even if the light's not like best on the flat I want to be on, it's maybe on a flat that I probably was going to hit like later on, but I'm just going to hit a little earlier now and just be there a little bit more just because the light's better in that area. So I'm like doing all of that like calculation in my head, you know, and it's like how long the light's going to be bad here, or if I run here this light's going to clear up quicker than this on this area. So I'm doing all of that, a little bit of everything.
Well, you know, some people would describe you as a big personality, but there were moments today where you got real quiet, and I was like, he's thinking, he's trying to put pieces together. It'd always be like, we pull up to the flat, and I could tell when you were like excited about the flat we were on, and when you were like unsure of the flat we were on. Because when you pull up to the flat, it's like there's a lot, you know, and then you go into hunt mode, so then you go quiet.
Yeah.
But like before you go into hunt mode, there's a little more singing, chipper chapper, you know, talking.
Yeah.
And then there's like you can start hearing the little gears in Travis's head. Gearing up back there, and then it's like, all right, reel it in, you know. So, you know, over the past couple of years, you know, too, you've had a chance to fish with a lot of great anglers. And one of the things that I love about Soulfly too is that there's a lot of anglers here who are at different points in their journey. I'm new to permit fishing, so I have hooked a permit. It broke the hook. I spooked the permit today 2 different ways, so I'm chipping my way through, paying my dues. But when you're talking, give me a little permit seminar here, as far as what are the big mistakes that people make, and then what are the big things that, like, there's kind of this principle of, hey, obviously there's 100 things that you need to do to be successful at anything, but there's always like 5 or 6 things that if you can get those things right, it's 80% of like the success. So talk me through kind of the do's and don'ts of it.
Dude, like it's like beautiful. That's why I give that speech where it's like sound amplifies 10 times underwater and travel faster underwater than it does above water. So you don't have to have a super long clean cast to catch them, but you have to have a quiet feet. And the reason I say that is not just I'm just like spewing out something that I'm not sure what's going on. My first passion was like snorkeling, diving, free diving. And diving, I will be like 9 to 10 feet underwater, and I could hear my buddy in the boat walking around and thumping and dropping stuff, and I could even hear him talking, like mumbling, like, and I'm like 9 to 8 feet underwater, and I could hear this while I'm diving and snorkeling. So, and I'm not even from there. So you can imagine a fish that lives there, how much he could hear or feel in that water. And like it always was, I was always aware of that or acute to that. I'm like, when I'm snorkeling, I could hear everything. And even when I have dive buddies, we communicate underwater with sound. I'll tap my spear on my sling and a kink, and he will like look at me right away, and we have like signs we'll give each other if there's a shark or if there's something, a fish that we want to shoot. Like we communicate with sound. So I know how important sound is underwater. So that's why when I'm guiding like with permit and with clients, I'm telling them foot movement is so important. Like you can't move your foot once you're already casting at this fish. It's the equivalent of you hunting a deer and you're already with 50 feet in a deer in the forest on those leaves, and you start to walk at him trying to shoot him. He's going to hear you right away because you're breaking those leaves and those stems, and he's going to fish is the same way. You're on that boat and like you're already in 50 feet of spook radius, and he's there, and you start to move your foot to make a cast. He's going to know you're there before your fly even hit the water. So you blew your shot. You let that fish know you was there before your fly hit the water. And that's why foot movement is so important on the bow. And because I've dove for most of my life, and I've been underwater, and I could hear song underwater, and we communicate with song, and I know I'm not even from, and I know fish could hear me way even better, you know. So it's like it's a privilege that they even let us get as close to them as they do, you know, because like they know we're there, you know, but it's just like how quiet and what they allow, and I just try to be extra quiet and get extra close for even clients that can't make the long cast. So that's why I stress like foot movement so much.
And then when you fish with somebody, I know you've had a chance. We talked a little bit about this last time, but when you're fishing with somebody who has spent a lot of time doing it, is really talented at it, and there's always these little things that you can see. They might not even be like, obviously, if somebody casts well or somebody, has kind of a good approach with how they work the fly, there's things like that. But what are little things that you notice fishing around really great anglers that maybe often get overlooked? Because everybody, I think, just looks at casting, and there's a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, a lot of people just look at casting and distance. I got a lot of people over the years, they self-taught and they only teach themselves how to cast far, but they have zero accuracy. They can't put a fly on a target. They're always lying to fish because they've trained themselves just to try to lob it so far. They haven't trained themselves to hunt something. And it's hunting. You got to be able to put it on a moving fish. He's going left, he's going right. You got to be able to compensate for the wind. All of that comes into play with casting. But I feel like the biggest thing, even like a lot of people, I guess, like take line off the reel. The way you take, I could tell the caliber of fisherman from you start to peel line off of your reel. If you're peeling line and you're peeling that line off the lower bow on your reel, you're not a fisherman because you're ruining $100 line just by grinding that line across that lower bow on that reel. You're breaking up all the membrane in that line. So I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll have so if you're pulling straight forward, I'm like, and then I'm watching you. If you like recast your line after you like cleared it, after you take it off the reel, you recast your line and then restack it. I know you're a fisherman. Most people don't do that. They just take off line and just stand there. That means you have all of your underlying on top of your running line, and it's just an accident waiting to happen. So I'm watching from you take line off your reel. I'm watching if you from you cast your line out to restack it in the boat. I'm watching how you hold your fly and your leader. I'm watching for all of that. How much like running line you have out of your rod tip. Because like some people just have it choked and they don't have like a preloaded rod with about, I'll say, like 8 feet of like running line out of their tip. They don't have that. So I'm watching for all of that. So just by saying that, I could tell the caliber of fisherman you are from you step on my bow. I don't even have to talk to you. I just got to watch you take line off your reel. So just doing it so long, and just by being around pros and just by being taught by pros, I just know what to look for and just like know what I'm getting into just from you taking line off your reel and how to approach the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And to tie two things together, you're talking about trying to work on kindness, and then obviously not just you, but the whole team here at Soulfly is really intentional with coaching. And I'm curious for you, because I think a lot of people think in order to coach, you can't be kind, because a lot of sports world, the coaches aren't necessarily kind or feel like they have to be hard on people. What does it look like to coach well with kindness? So
it's amazing to coach with kindness, because casting doesn't work frustrated, because like casting is mental. If you're worked up or upset that you missed a shot and you're trying to cast, it just doesn't work. I've been there. I've done it. That's why I'm at where I'm at. So I know it doesn't work with people getting frustrated or a guy barking down a client eardrum or, and I use certain words. I don't even like, oh, you messed that shot up. I'll never say something like that. Or, oh, you butchered that. I'm like, it's okay, John. Like what you did that time is like you pointed your rod a little too low. We're going to finish right eye level. And so I'm never using discouraging words. I'm always staying positive, and that's just how you keep people in the game. But if I'm like being insulting or like saying things that are like going to rub you the wrong, or just picking the wrong words at that point in time, that's going to not come across well to my client, and it's going to make for a frustrating day, and nobody's happy at that point, because like you think about it, nobody pays to get yelled at or like insulted. So I'm not out here to yell at you or assault you. I'm here. I'm passionate about what I do. This is a wild animal and a critter I want to catch, and I want to help you catch him, because I've been fishing and understanding him so much. I just want you to get it. So I'm like trying to fish through you. So I will never like basically frustrate my clients or try to get worked up because it doesn't work. I know guys that like basically like they don't know how to approach, and that's what being a great guide is, learning to read the room. Like how to approach a client, and if they want that, because like I've learned, like I've even like overhelped somebody where I'm like helping them so much, and they're like, oh, everything I do is wrong. You say I didn't do that, or I didn't do that, and I'm like, but I'm just trying to help. I saw you did it, and I just was correcting it. So I've overhelped people to the point where they got frustrated at me. So I've had to learn to even pull back off helping too much. So learn just to the point where I could see body language and read body. So it's so much going on other than just catching a fish. I'm trying to deal with the whole human being and understanding them and not like basically upset them or basically offend them. So and why we're trying to catch this fish. So I got all of that at the same time I'm hunting this animal going on.
Yeah, I heard recently somebody say, and it really stuck with me, that a lot of people are fixated on trying to make somebody be as good as they can possibly be.
Yes.
And what they said was, I want to coach you to be as good as you want to be.
Yes.
And so, there's some people who, yeah, sure, they want some tips here or there.
Yeah.
But they blew the cast. They knew they blew the cast. They're not upset at you.
Yeah.
But they also, maybe they run a huge business and they don't have a ton of time to work on it. They just want to, whatever. They have different views on it. For you, what do you think? Is that something that is more common in Bahamian guide culture? Because it doesn't feel as common in the Southeast. Or is that something that you feel like is not that common? Like, is it as far as getting frustrated because people aren't casting every single day, practicing, over coaching? Like, do you feel like people are a little more laid back down here? Or do you think that, how's that factor?
I don't even feel like people are laid back or something. I just feel like people don't understand the animal they're hunting. Because, like, you could get away with bonefish or redfish or trout with a lot of, like, lying a fish or, like, mistakes, and they'll still eat it. Dude, a primate is the hardest fish to catch on fly in the entire world. So it's just, like, if you're not casting enough or doing the right things to just get it right or to just catch this fish, and it's like, I have a lot of people that come and they can't cast, like, the appropriate distance, and they want to go primate fishing, and they just don't understand the animal that they're hunting. But you don't even have to have a long cast. Even if, like, you're, like, practicing being quiet with your foot movements, or, like, how you take line off the water. So it's, like, it's just they don't understand the animal. And they just feel like, I just want to picture with it. I just want to catch it. And they feel like it's easy, like a bonefish. But it's just an animal that's hard worldwide. It's just, no, they're easier here or they're easier there. They're just the same mentality everywhere you go in the world. And just not an easy fish to catch on fly. And it's just an accomplishment to say you did it. It's like the Pandora box of the ocean. So you got to understand what you're up against when you're fishing for primate. And I feel like a lot of people don't. And so that way it begets that gap of like, oh, I'm not doing it. I've caught this fish, I've caught that fish. And like, why is this fish so different? And, and it's just that understanding what you're hunting.
When you look back at the past 4 years and you kind of replay and rethink your development as a guide, what do you feel like has been the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge for me was had to get over wanting the fish more than the client. Because like it's my passion, I love it, and like it could like create a bad environment if I want the fish more than the client mess about it. Oh, I'm getting upset at them, or like basically like, oh, like like basically like not being nice or like just getting worked up. I've had to learn that these people paid their hard-earned money to come here to catch this fish, and they're looking to me for help, and it won't be beneficial if I'm here like getting grouchy and angry at them if they miss a shot or nothing like that. There's gonna be more, and it's just like keep the ball moving. Let's enjoy this, because like it's a vacation. You do this to get rid of stress. You don't do this to create stress. And I get that, and that's why I'm at where I'm at in the industry, and I do what I do, because not only the fishing part of it or being a better human, I get why they're here, and I get why we're doing what we're doing, so I'm always like understanding and trying to like, like just bring out the best, and like you said, the best that people want to be. That's why I'm here.
So tell me about the story, because I don't think I've asked. Tell me about the story of your first permit that you got the chance to catch.
My first permit was so crazy. I was fishing the original owners of Chilumas, and we were out at Moores Island, and I had a good friend of mine so I was with, and he was a guide as well, and we were fishing, and like my boat, everybody caught primate in the boat. Both of my clients caught primate, and my buddy, he's a guy, he's a boat with my client, and he's like, I was like, they was like, why you don't catch one? And I was like, you sure? They was like, yeah, dude, everybody already caught a primate in the boat, like, just catch one. And like, he's pulling me, and these two primate was coming in. The first primates I've ever seen on eagle ray. They just on this eagle ray, and this eagle ray is just working. It's coming in, and it was like the way the wind was coming from. I had to do a back cast, and it was like a good 50-foot back cast. Like I put it in there on the back of the eagle ray. These fish like charged to fly, and I stuck one. Dude, it was like I have video to the day of that moment. It was like so loud in that boat. I was screaming and going, hooting and hollering, and I caught it. And it was just a blast, man. Everybody got permit that day. It was just like, it was an amazing day. And it was my first permit ever that I caught for my cell phone fly. And I felt like, after that I was totally even more snake bitten. Like I was like definitely a junkie after that. It was just like more,
Had you, before that, obviously you had put a lot of people on permit.
Yeah.
How long from when you started being serious about putting people on permit to you getting a chance to actually put one in your hands that you hooked? How long did that period of time go?
I've put people on permit for almost like 3-4 years before I caught my personal permit. Like before I was even interested in going on for myself, because like I had found them myself, and when I did like the studying and like tracking them and stuff like that. But it's like I never wanted to catch them. I was like, I'm saving these for my clients. I'm keep them fresh. So I wouldn't even hunt them.
Yeah.
So it was like after it was like that, all of my clients caught one. It was like I was like okay with it, because like I've had clients even they was like having trouble making the shots on windy days, and they like give me the rod, like I'll take the shot. I will never take the shot. I'm like, I'm good. And they're like, oh, you're just right. I'm like, I'm good. He's like, I can't get it. I'm like, it's good. He lived to fight another day. I will never cast a rod if they give it to me. It's just like I don't that's not for me, I just, if I do it, it's like if I'm training somebody, or if I feel like I already boated enough, and I'll take a shot. But other than that, my joy is putting clients on them, saying clients catch them, and that's my passion, and just watching them excited, because like I'm too deadly. I know I could get them,
So I like for my story, the second time I ever targeted permit, I hooked up on a nice big permit, and then the hook broke, and my buddy Dan was like, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like it's not. And a lot of times, like I feel like when I look back at my fly fishing, I don't think that stuff comes easy to me.
No.
So it would have been wild for the hardest species to be the one that like I got fortunate on like that.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody who's discouraged? Because you talked about this, like people show up and they want, people text, how did it go? And you want to have the photo, you want to catch the fish, and with permit fishing, it's not about going out every single time and catching a fish. It's okay for that to be a journey. How do you encourage people who maybe, whether it's any species of fish that are struggling with being patient with the process, how do you try to encourage that?
You encourage that because it is the journey. If you think about it, if you guys go and catch it, then the journey's done. But it's like you've been at it, you've seen them, you've hooked them, you've had close calls, they've sniffed your fly. It's like that, like your junkiness just gets craving, just get more and more and more, and it's just it gets keep getting more and more. But like you say, you guys go and catch them. It's like, all right, that's cool. Like people talk about it's hard, but it's like the journey to catching them. It's what makes it sweet, not just catching them. Because the time and effort and the sweat and the tears you've put into it, and when you finally get it, it's like, so, dude, like, I kid you not, when you catch a permit, it's like a weight has lifted off your shoulder. You're light. You're like skipping on cloud 9. It's like, it's like you're laughing so hard, your head is light, you're dizzy. It's like an ultimate feel. I love it. And it's like, even to the day, like every fish even if a client catch it, I feel the same way. It's like, it's like two strangers sharing the same passion from different worlds, but we get it, and that's just it. And I love it. I've met so much amazing people just because we share the same passion, whether it was big time in corporate or Wall Street or doctors or big time. Like at the end of the day, we share one passion, and it's chasing this critter that is the hardest in the world to catch on fly. And that's just our passion that we're going to share till the day we die, What
do you feel like is the biggest lesson that you've learned from dedicating the time that you have to permit and bonefish? Like when you think about, let's say that when you turned 18, let's just imagine Travis went into the corporate world. He's wearing a suit. You showed us a photo of you in a suit, and it looked like you were like a deer learning to walk, because you don't seem like a guy that's in suits a lot.
That was my first coat suit.
Yeah. So you know, I'm not a guy in suits a lot either, so I could say that. But like when you think about, like, let's just say that it's like the multiverse, and you meet Travis who went corporate. You know, he pulls up, he's got the Rolls Royce, he's wearing a suit every day, he's got the Rolex. What lessons do you think that you got a chance to learn from choosing guiding and choosing this lifestyle that if you would have went a more normative pattern, what do you feel like you would have missed?
So what I would have missed of basically meeting people from all walks of life, because I feel like no other job in the Bahamas that was really going to connect me to so much different people from all over the world, you know. And it's just like, that's just what the disadvantages of this job is. You get to meet people and legends in the saltwater fishery that a lot of people have never ever get to meet, even people that older than me haven't get to meet Flip or Lefty Cray or Chico Fernandez or Steve Ray Jeff or these guys, or Sandy Moretto was not, and like Benny Blanc. I've met all of these people, you know, and it's just like the saltwater fishery world is small, and it's like if you're like making waves in it, it's like you're definitely gonna connect it or run across each other's path. And I just think that's just what it is at the end of the day. It's like you share the same passion, and it's like, if you think about it, it's like you say on the basketball team, not everybody's going to be LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or Jordan. You know, there's like, even on any jobs, there's always going to be one or two people who excel ahead of the rest of the class. And it's just because it's their passion, and it's going to show. You can't hide passion, and that's just, you can't even fake it. And that's just what it is.
Well, my last question is, if you could just pass one lesson, obviously we pray that you'll get lots and lots of lessons to give Ocean. But if you could just take one big lesson that you're going to pass to him from the life that you've lived the past 10 years, all the change, not fishing related, life related. Yeah. All the change, all the Hurricane Dorian, all of that. What's that lesson that you would hope to pass to him?
One lesson that even I'm still working on is just be the best human being you can. You know, and I feel like it's so much things falls into place when you're a great person or a great human being. And you people that you don't even know use good day or good morning or good afternoon, or it takes nothing to be kind. Just be kind, because like in this world that we live in, dude, there's so little kindness around, and it's just like, and if it's like I feel like it can be intoxicated if it's spread around a lot. And I feel like just be kind, and it's just need more of that in this world we live in today. And I feel like fishing helps a lot of people to connect and understand and sharing the same passion. And from people from all walks of life, I feel like just be a better human being, man. And life, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. Well, you think about, I'll make a weird correlation. It just popped in my head, fishing and kindness. But like, you think about how for a lot of species of fish, obviously you have a ton of ocean, but they're all going to be around structure, or they're going to be around, certain types of things. But structure is obviously a big one for a lot of species of fish. Yeah. And so that structure, everything's going to gravitate towards. I think that really kind, passionate people, when you have kindness and passion, it's like structure that people are going to be drawn to. And then people look at them and they go, oh, well, they're lucky because they know this guy, they know this guy, they had this thing. And then they act like it all just happened. Yeah. But it's like, no, that person is structure. Yes. There's a reason that they keep having these people around them, and these people keep wanting to help them and keep coming back. And so I think we have that mentality of, oh, they got lucky. It's like, no, they're structure. Yes. And when you're bland or you're mean or you're cold or whatever, you're not passionate. Yeah. You're just like that part of the ocean that's just flat.
Exactly. You're just there to make a part. You're part of the ocean, but you're not really noticeable. You just exist. Yeah.
So we'll end on that deep note, and it was so good just to get to fish with you today. And I hope to do these every couple years. Keep updating things. Maybe one day we, whenever Ocean starts guiding, we'll get a little father-son convo on. But thank you so much for the time. Thanks for hanging out today. Of course. Look forward to doing it again.